Why haven't China and Russia joined Iran's war against the United States and Israel? So far, more than 10 days have passed since Iran has been fighting directly against the United States and Israel on its own. During this time, Iran has suffered major losses, including the death of its supreme leader Ali Khamenei, along with several senior officials. Over these 10 days, the United States and Israel have carried out intense attacks on more than 3,000 locations across Iran, especially targeting military infrastructure, suspected weapons storage facilities, and nuclear-related sites. Meanwhile, Iran has retaliated by launching attacks against Israel and targeting several U.S. military bases in the Persian Gulf region. One question many observers are asking is, why haven't China and Russia, two of Iran's closest partners, joined the war or provided military assistance to Iran? After the U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran on February 28, 2026, which reportedly killed Iran's leader Ali Khamenei, Moscow sent condolences over his death, while Beijing strongly condemned the attack, calling it a brutal act and a violation of international law. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi also told Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar that the use of military force cannot solve problems and instead often creates new issues and long-term consequences. Shortly after the war broke out, China and Russia called for an emergency meeting at the United Nations Security Council, which represented diplomatic pressure. However, neither country has taken military action or sent weapons to Iran so far. Russia's position. One major reason may be that Russia does not want to become involved in another war. Russia is already deeply engaged in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, a large and prolonged war. In January 2025, Russia and Iran signed a strategic partnership agreement. Under this agreement, the two countries can share intelligence and cooperate in various military fields. However, the agreement does not include a mutual defense clause, meaning Russia is not obligated to send troops to fight alongside Iran against Israel and the United States. According to Andrei Kortunov, the agreement between Russia and Iran is not as deep as Russia's defense agreement with North Korea signed in 2024. If a war were to break out on the Korean peninsula, the situation could be very different, potentially forcing Russia or China to become directly involved. Another key factor is geography. North Korea borders both China and Russia, while Iran is far away from China and not very close to Russia either. Kortunov also added that Moscow does not want a direct confrontation with the United States, especially as Donald Trump is currently playing a role in mediating efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Trump is also widely seen as having a relatively friendly stance toward Vladimir Putin. Despite the war in Iran lasting more than 10 days, the Kremlin has stated that Iran has not formally requested military assistance from Russia. Interestingly, the conflict may even bring economic benefits to Russia. After Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz and threatened to attack ships passing through it, global oil prices surged. Rising oil prices create global market instability and have prompted some European countries to consider easing sanctions on Russian oil, potentially giving Russia more opportunities to sell energy and strengthen its economy. Some analysts believe that once the war ends, relations between Moscow and Tehran may not be as strong as before. They argue that both China and Russia sometimes treat Iran more as a strategic bargaining tool in negotiations with Western powers. China's position. China, another longtime partner of Iran, is also unlikely to risk its major national interests by confronting Washington directly. In an interview with Al Jazeera, Dr. Jody Wen explained that while China has deep economic ties with Iran, its military cooperation with Iran remains limited. This is one reason the Chinese government must carefully consider its decisions before getting involved in the war. Another factor is China's long-standing foreign policy principle of non-interference in other countries' internal affairs, which further reduces the likelihood that China will send weapons to Iran. Additionally, China has recently faced internal political tensions. In recent months, several high-ranking Chinese military officials have been investigated or arrested over corruption allegations, including some individuals close to Chinese President Xi Jinping. The war in Iran has also affected China's energy security. Although Iran has said it will not target Chinese oil shipments, more than 80% of Iran's oil exports pass through the Strait of Hormuz, much of it destined for China. The ongoing conflict has disrupted supply, which could significantly affect China's energy sector. From another perspective, China may benefit if the war ends quickly, as stability would help restore global energy flows. Another important reason China wants to avoid deep involvement is that President Xi Jinping is expected to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump in 2026. This summit is widely expected to address major global issues, particularly the ongoing trade tensions between China and the United States. If China were to openly support Iran in the war, it could damage the summit or even lead to its cancellation. Although Beijing and Tehran maintain strategic cooperation, their relationship is a strategic partnership rather than a formal military alliance. China also wants to maintain strong trade ties with Persian Gulf countries. However, some of those countries, such as the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, have already become targets of Iranian missiles and drones during the conflict. If China were to provide weapons or direct military support to Iran, it could further escalate attacks in the region and damage China's relationships with these important economic partners. Some Western political analysts believe that if the United States and Israel succeed in overthrowing Iran's current regime, China and Russia would likely avoid trying to rebuild the collapsing system and instead attempt to establish relations with whatever new government emerges in Tehran. This analysis is based on reports from several international media outlets, including Foreign Affairs, DW, NDTV, and Al Jazeera. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.